What's happening, everybody? I just got the cylinder heads for the blue 69 Camaro back from Brian at the machine shop. It's a set of brodix BR7s. I'm going to use a bunch of really nice parts in it because I plan to keep the car for a little while, and even if I do sell it, I want to have a really nice combination in it. So this is a set of brodix BR7 heads. I sent them to Iron Mask Airflow Innovations to have as hand blending and all that good jazz to them, just because we have a good working relationship and I like to support people. And instead of me spending a bunch of time trying to make them decent, he's got a little bit better of a system to make them even better, quicker. I'd rather just pay him and stay working doing what I do. So anyways, we've had a lot of questions in the past, and I've done these videos in the past. I think at some time, and some of the videos get lost in the cluster and clump, you know, all that stuff of videos like, it's old, whatever, not gonna pay attention. So I'll do a new one. This video is showing you guys how to set up your cylinder heads, how to shim your valve springs proper compared to your camshaft, and get them to where everything's happy in the valve train. Obviously the green car is the fastest hydraulic roller in the world still 2 years later, but there's a reason, because I understand the valve train and these combinations. I work with great companies like BTR, Johnson Lifters, etc., and we can make all this stuff work really well together, but it takes shimming the springs correctly for the lift of the cam, having the correct springs, things of that nature. So we will we'll move over to my little engine build table here in a second, and we'll dig into this. All right, we're back, we're live. So what we have here, once again, these brodix BR7 heads, worked over by Iron Mask. CHE, brass valve guides, all this good stuff. The valves that we chose, Victory 1 titanium. They're calico coated, super awesome valves. These are really, really, really high-end good stuff. We use it in all kinds of crazy race car stuff, and they are super gangster. Wherever I put the box, I don't remember, it's over here. So these get sent out to Calico for polishing and coating. What that does is, with the titanium stuff, it is far less abrasive, so it doesn't wear the brass guide nearly as fast. For the intake valves, I got hollow stem Faria valves. Obviously, once again, really good set of cylinder head stuff, really good valve train components, and these are pretty light considering the size because of the hollow stem, etc. And then I got these 1208X springs from TIC because they have reasonable prices on them, and we've used them quite a bit, and we continue to use them. So usually a lot of times we'll use like BTR 685s and such. I really like the PAC 1208X stuff. It gives you a little bit more pressure, plus it gives you a little more leeway between coil bind. So not that this is important, this is kind of irrelevant to shimming the springs, but this is an LSM spring machine. Basically this tells us the pressure of the spring at which height it's at. So it's pretty cool because you can check worn springs, things of that nature. So if you guys do a lot of abuse to your cars and to your engines, it's always good to know where your spring pressure sit. And then, like I said, after a while, you can take stuff apart and be like, oh wow, these springs are really worn. So not that this matters, but I'll show you a little bit about how this works if you're not familiar. Scoot that down a little bit. So basically, I know that these make 160 pounds of pressure at 1.8 install height. So between where the spring is clamped right now, we can go on and measure that, which this one's not as fancy as other people's. We're at 179 and we're at 160 pounds, so very close to what they rated at. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run this thing into 450 pounds because I chose that I want 450 pounds of open pressure. And that's when the camshaft is all the way open at 650 lift. So we're at 450 pressure rate, meow. Maybe 460, close enough. So 450 pressure. So what we got here, we are at 1.13 of install height. So this camshaft that I'm using in this car, I had Nick from BTR make it, and it is 650 lift. So what we would do is we would do the math and say, okay, 1.13 open, 450 pounds of pressure. We could go 650 lift on that. So it'd be like 1.78 install height. So we'd round this thing back to the 178, which we know we were really close to the 160 open closed pressure. Some of the fancier ones do the measurement for you. So yeah, we're at 178.5, and we got about 160, 165 pounds of closed pressure. So closed is when the camshaft isn't in process of opening that valve. But anyways, so I was right on target. I was going to do 112, 113, which I was actually thinking 110, but that might be a little tight. Let me double check what that is. So at 110, we're about 465, maybe 470, which is, it's more spring pressure than we need with the really light valves. So I will back it off to the 113. And we're still 450 pounds of seat pressure. So, like I said, it's plenty of seat pressure, what we want, plus we have a lot of leeway to coil bind. 1114, 1115 is 450 on the dot. So what that is telling us is everything that I knew, but what that's telling us is when this spring is at 1.8 inches of install height, it has X amount of open pressure wherever. For my specific calculations, which everybody's different, so don't do the same thing I'm doing because it's all dependent on the cam, springs, and what you want out of the combo. I'm gonna set these at 178. And then when that means when the cam opens to 650 lift, this spring is at 113. I can't squeeze it that hard because it's tight, but that means that the height of the spring at that very moment when the cam is all the way open is 1.13 inches. And the good part about that with the 1208X, that gives us 0.115 from coil bind, which commonplace, if you know anything about valve train, you want to stay like 50 thou away from coil bind or more. And that's what I like about these is you don't have to wring these springs right out to have good pressure, and you still have a lot of leeway both ends, and you're not overworking nothing. So that's what we're doing. I'll slow this down to a time lapse here in a second. Actually, I won't. I'll show you first. This back in the spot. I'll just have to move this, or can you see? Maybe not so good. Let me change it. I'll change it to a different angle. All right, I think this is a pretty good angle where you can see. You can't see my beautiful face, but here we are. Just kidding. So what you're gonna do first and foremost is you're gonna take, with the spring kit, comes all these pieces that you're going to utilize to set the springs up accordingly. Obviously, you have valve seals. It's irrelevant to what we're doing. So these are the locator or the base of the spring. So what these have is these have the alignment for the center spring so that they can't bind and bounce around inside of there. So what you do initially, if you're unfamiliar with how to do this, is you're going to set that base down with the correct side up, with the tapered side up, and then you're going to take your micrometer from whoever you bought, your height installer checker tool, EO, and you're gonna stuff that in there. You're gonna put the lock in, or sorry, the retainer in, and then you're gonna lock it with a couple clips. And then what you have to do is you have to loosen this, basically. Loosen this to where it gets extremely tight, and that's gonna give you the measurement of where obviously the valve stops in the valve seat. All right, so we're pretty tight here, right? So what I got here is what you guys can't see, but on that micrometer, it shows you the different measurements and dials. So every turn around is 1 inch, or sorry, 0.1 inch of height. So what we have is 1.845, and I'll wind this back down so you can see. So as I spun this out, so I spun that out to where you have this, when it's at rest is 1 inch, and then it would be 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. We were, and as this turns, you see the 20, that would be 30, that would be 40, and we landed at 1.845. So 1.845 inches open. What I wanted, once again, was 178. This is when the 650 lift cam gets us down to 113. So I know offhand you're gonna get all these shims in the kits, and if you don't, you're gonna buy these shims separately. I know these are 15 thou, these are 30, and I have a ton of these because obviously I do them a lot. I have 60s. So at 1.845, I know that I'm, about 60 thousandths off from where I wanna go, give or take. So I'm gonna take the 60 thou shim, drop it below the locator. Once it's below the locator, I can redo this process. Screw this back in so that it's neutral, or however you want to do it, so that you can get the locks in. And then you're going to get your retainers, or sorry, your locks into the retainer. And then you're going to spin this back out. So now what I see is I turn that out as tight as I can. What I have now is 1.785. And I don't have another calculator over here because I'd love to show you guys on paper what that exactly is. I guess I can grab my laptop really quick. Hold tight. Should turn on fast. Stay right there. So, once again, to reiterate the process, I added 60 thou of shim to it, which shortens the height of this spring install tool, and we got it back down to 1.785. So, once again, where's the calculator? What we have, 1.785. And what you would do is subtract the lift of the camshaft. We are subtracting 0.650. That gives us 1.135. So what that would give us is 165 pounds of open pressure when the cam is not moving the spring. That means when the retainer is holding the valve to the highest point. And then what we would have then is a 1.135 compressed valve spring, giving us 450 to 460 pounds of open pressure, right where my specific combo is going to want it the most. And it's a super easy mathematical equation. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to spend hours doing crazy stuff. It's relatively simple math. So what you would do is you would run through all of these, depending on how good the machinist is in the valve job. The reason in checking all these is because sometimes they're all over the place depending on who did it. I'm fortunate with a really good machinist that's on the same page, and he's always within 5-6 thou. So commonly I don't have to do anything crazy with different shims. And it's, we've gotten, I always hate to say the names of companies, but we've gotten heads where they're 3 shims here, 2 shims here, because the valve job is all over the place. And that drives me nuts because you're doing the same amount of work. You're just not paying attention or care as much about your work as other people. So anyways, this is a really simple process. And I do this on every single combo that I do that isn't a truck that's just getting a stock truck cam, because this stuff is very important to me and I want people's stuff to run extremely well. So I always go a little bit above and beyond, and I spend a lot of extra time in these areas where I think people should do that, especially when people are paying you to do it. So like I said, I just wanted to go over this one more time and kind of show you guys how this works. These tick spring kits are a really good value. Really light retainers. Obviously all the stuff comes with this one, and I really like the pack springs are really good springs. And I have tons of them. And it's just something where, after a while, I would say after a summer, if I put 3,000 or 4,000 miles on this combo, I'll probably pull a few springs out of it over next winter when it's down for the season, and I'll measure the install height of a few of those springs to see if it still has 450, 460 foot-pounds of pressure. Sorry, not foot-pounds, pounds of open pressure. And if any of the springs are showing any indication a weak, I'll replace them for the $350, $400 it costs to replace them, because springs and changing the springs is a lot cheaper than buying another engine that's 20 grand. So like I said, it's something that's very important to me, so I do that. But hopefully I didn't talk too much and speed through this process and you guys got to learn something and ingest it. It's really not hard. It's if you're uncomfortable with it, it might take a couple tries for you to feel good about it. It's really easy. And anyways, I hope that explanation showed you and taught you something along the way. And but yeah, I'll post this up so that you guys have some reference. Well, have a good day. We'll see you.